Oh, let's do some worship. Stand up.
Boys are going in. Woo!
All right, guys, ready? Oh, here we go. I'm like ready for this. Loosen up a little bit. Get yourself ready to go. Are we ready to go? Are we feeling it? We're feeling it. I feel like we gotta get ready. I don't know if you guys are ready. It doesn't look like you're ready. Do they look like you're ready? I don't think they are. Okay. Here we go. We're gonna get going here. We're gonna worship God. We're gonna have some fun doing it. Are you ready? Okay. I think now we're ready. All right, here we go. All right. I'm responsible for working hard. Pick me up, now I'm set apart. From the ash, I'm going again. Forever safe in the Savior's hands. You are more than my words can say. I follow you over all the days. I fix my eyes following the way. Forever free in an angry way. Cause you are my freedom. You're higher, you're higher. You are never meant to know. Oh, you are my paradise. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. Your love that sets us free. Whoa. Gotta stop. What's going on, guys? I know. It's like someone like killed for joy. Did someone like pee in your morning Cheerios this morning or something? Like what happened? Here's what we're gonna do, guys. All right. Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna make a change. I'm making an executive decision here. Okay. If you want to stay at your seat, that's totally fine. If you want to come up to mosh pit, you may. But you got to put your mask on. You got to get your mask on to mosh pit. All right.
Come on, people. Come on here.
Put your mask on. Get up here for mosh pitting. Okay. It's how we used to do it before COVID. This is the pre-COVID way of doing it. Let's move it. Yeah. Let's move it. This was the pre-COVID way. This is what we did. Okay? And we're just known for it. You gotta have your mask on. If you're uncomfortable, then that's fine. Oh man. Just get on the stage. I gotta step it up. Guys, it's been so long since we did this. Oh man. Alright, here we go. And I feel like we gotta start it over. Okay. Just know that like whoever's close to the speakers, it's gonna be like pretty loud in your ears. Skylar, just get ready. It's like right there. Okay.
Yes,
you guys ready? I feel like we need to start this over again. Here we go. Alright, we're alive. I was lost here in broken heart. You took me out, now I'm set apart. From the ash, I'm born again. Forever safe in my Savior's hand. You are more than my words can say. Follow you over all my days. Fix my eyes, follow in your ways. Forever free and empty grace. Here we go. Cause you are my freedom. You're higher, you're higher. Your love, never ending. Oh, now we jump. You are my paradise. Nothing can take your place. You are all we need. So good, I said, I'm free. Shine light, breaking chains on the road. You said the sun gonna set you free. Everything is worth it. Pressing on till I see your face. I will win, but you won't be done. I can stop till you kingdom come. Cause you are my freedom. We lift you higher, lift you higher. You love, never ending love. Oh, you are my baby. Austin, jump. There we go. You are the love. Cause you are my freedom. You lift you higher, lift you higher. You love, never ending love. Oh, you are my paradise. Nothing can take your place. Boys, come on, stop it. Stay up and dance. Alright, that's good. That's good. This next one. Oh, Aaliyah. Is that you? Come on, Aaliyah. All right, you guys ready for something a little more Irish? All right, here we go. You said you rule and reign in our hearts again. Increase in us, we pray. Unveil our name. Come set our hearts ablaze with hope, like wildfire in our very souls. Holy Spirit, come invade us now. Stop. Clap appropriately, okay? There you go. Your church, because you're leading it, okay? You're leading this, and you know it. Yes, you are. In us. We refuse to waste our lives for your good and kind. To see the captive hearts release, the hurt, the sick, the poor at peace. We lay down our lives for heaven's cause. Here we go. We are the church, and we are the Lord on earth. Here we go. Let's get ready. 1, 2, build your kingdom here. Let the darkness here. Show your mighty hand. Fill our streets everywhere. Set your church on fire. Bring this creation back. Change the atmosphere. Bring the kingdom in. We pray. That's when you jump, guys. You're so out of practice. I know, Davey's got it. That's when you jump. Build your kingdom here. I mean, like these guys. I mean, we're just like, like what are we doing up here? I feel like we need everyone on stage. You're just setting like everyone on stage. All right. We're gonna do verse 3, and then when we go back to the chorus, we jump. Okay. Unleash. Here we go. Unleash the kingdom power, reaching the inner and far. Your force is nothing can stop. Your beating heart. We say it's much more than this. Away the kingdom seated us. Give us with the strength of Christ. We are the church. We are the Father. Here we go. Build your kingdom here. Let the darkness fear. Show your mighty hand. Heal our streets. Set your church on fire. In this nation that change the atmosphere. Build your kingdom here. We pray. Build your kingdom here, which is fear. Show your mighty hand, heal our streets, and let it go. Set your church on fire in this nation. Change the atmosphere. Build your kingdom here. We pray. Nice song. All right. We got there. Grab a seat. Grab a seat for some announcements. Alrighty, guys. How we feeling? How we doing? Okay. We got some announcements for you, and they're pretty sweet. Announcement number 1 is CIT is coming up because Spring Hill is coming to town. Spring Hill's coming on July 5th to the 9th, and they need help from CIT. So if you're in 8th grade, then you can sign up for this. You are basically going to be helping them out with counseling. All right, you're the counselor in training. That's what CIT stands for. You're going to be a part of Spring Hill and what they're doing, and helping to wrestle those kids, wrangle them up, make sure that they don't break any rules or stuff, and making them have fun too. It's a really cool experience. It's also a cool gateway into being a part of the counselors at Spring Hill. It's a cool opportunity for you guys. If you're in 8th grade, that is an option for you this summer. Also, if you're in 8th grade, we are having our Detroit mission trip this year from June 20th to 26th. And once again, it is only for the 8th graders going into 9th grade because, guys, on June 20th to 26th, which is only a couple months from now, you are the next grade. We moved you to the next grade in the beginning of the summer. So you might not feel like you're the next grade until the school year starts, but we see you as the next grade the beginning of the summer. That's when you move up in our eyes. So at that point, 8th graders, you're gonna be freshmen, June 20th, 26th. Isn't that crazy? You'll be fresh meat for everyone to destroy. But all the 7th graders, you'll be the big dogs. You'll be 8th graders. That'll be pretty sweet. 6th graders, you won't be the tiny dogs anymore. You'll be just like the middle dogs. And then we get a brand new batch of 6th graders. Isn't that gonna be cool? That's gonna be awesome, guys. It's gonna be sweet. But if you're in 8th grade, I would encourage you to think about being a part of our Detroit mission trip. It is gonna be an awesome experience, really cool, really powerful, and it's not something you're gonna wanna miss. The applications are online. They're also on the bullet table, all right? So I'd just encourage you, grab an application, fill it out, turn it in, because you only have a couple more weeks before the deadline, before you can't go anymore. So make sure you get it in before that deadline, and then you're gonna be on the Detroit mission trip, which is 6 days, June 20th to 26th. It's gonna be awesome. All right, next announcement is 8 days away. Rock All Night is coming to town, guys. Rock All Night, it has happened. We have it all planned out, guys. We have everything all set. We're just ready. Like, we're basically ready. I've already, like, the black lights came in, like everything that we need has come in. We even got floodlights for 9 squares, so we can play in the dark, like things like that. And we're gonna try to get floodlights for the volleyball pit as well. So like we're just gonna be doing everything. It's gonna be amazing. We got laser tag. We deck out the entire building into laser tag. Like it's a mobile laser tag arena, and they just deck out all of the church into a laser tag arena. We're gonna have pizza. We're gonna have snacks. We're gonna have games. We're gonna have movies / movie. There's only one movie. But here's the thing on the movies. There is only one that we're gonna play, and it's gonna be up to you guys because on social media. We're not watching Shrek. Sorry. No. On social media, we are posting on our Instagram and Facebook. We are posting on our pages what they are, and it's going to be a social media vote. All right. So it's going to be a vote from there, and that's where you're gonna have it. Now, if you don't have a phone, if you don't have a social media account, that's okay. There are other ways to find out what they are, and I just encourage you to get a vote in another format. All right, so what you can do is just like write it on a piece of paper, like which movie you want. You can put it in the Dropbox. You can give it to me, whatever. Either way, you don't have to have it on the social media page, but it's gonna be voting via that. And we're gonna be releasing that to you tomorrow, 1 week before the Rock All Nighter. Okay, so that's what's happening there. And I'm gonna move this live stream over here because it's currently like really awkward angle. Okay. it's like hi everybody, like super weird. Okay. All right. So there you go. The movies are going to be up to you. You guys get to vote on it, and they're going to be pretty sweet. And it's just going to be an entire night. It starts at 10 p.m. That's when it starts, and then it's going to go till 6 a.m. So grab some Monster Energy drinks and Red Bulls and the little Starbucks Frappuccino, whatever those things are called. I don't know, Frappalappa, whatever's. And then, whatever you need to stay awake. We will also keep you supplied with snacks. No one's going hungry, okay? We're going to keep you well supplied. The cafe is going to be open. There's going to be access to caffeine, all those other good things that'll turn you into a monster the next day. But we're not worrying about the next day. That's your parents' problem. For the night, we're going to have a fun time, all right? You guys ready for a Snapchat? He's amazing. He's beautiful. He's handsome. And he's rugged. It's our own Paul Bodie. Here he comes.
Good. I can tell you guys Perry's notes. Hey everybody. How's everybody doing? Good. I have to admit, I was even telling Kate when I drove to school this morning that I had not thought of my Snapchat as of this morning. So what came to mind, I prayed about it, thought about it. Has anybody had a nice quarantine journey the last couple weeks?
No.
Because we did at our house. It was nice and fun. And the one thing that really stood out after a couple days, everybody's okay, is the word separation. You're kind of separated from your friends. You're separated from simple things like the grocery store. You're separated from the fact that when you see your neighbors, you have to run away from them. So just, yeah, the word separation really jumped out to me. So I did a little searching, found a good verse that I'll show you at the end. But as always, as you know with me, I always like videos. So I want to play a video first. I'll step to the side, and we'll share my verse.
Ready for the Bible study? Yeah. Did you do the homework for the Bible study? Yes. So Tommy, look at me. You answered all the questions for Romans 8, 38, 39. Yes. Tommy. Mostly.
Well, the answer to the last question is not in the Bible.
The answer to the last question, what can separate you from the love of God? It's in there.
It's not in there.
Yes, it is.
It's not in
It's in there.
there.
It's in there. I will not give you questions.
It's not in there. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Show me, Bible. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are your ears open? Yes, here it is. Are you ready? Can you handle this? Can you handle this?
Yes. I think I deserve it.
I don't think you can handle it. No, in all these things, we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. Get ready, here it is. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. See, it doesn't say. Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. It says nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, you proved me right.
No, you proved me right. Like what? Yeah, something that you're looking for is nothing. Something is nothing.
No, something is something.
Something is nothing.
No, nothing is nothing.
Nothing is something.
No, nothing is nothing and something is something. But something can't be nothing and nothing can't be something.
But here it is and it can.
So you just want me to go in there and say nothing.
Yes.
Just be like, nothing.
Exactly. And the specific nothing is neither and nor.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Neither nor. Nothing. Nothing, neither nor. Nothing, nor, neither, nothing, neither, nothing, nor.
So I'll just go in there and not say anything.
No, I want you to say something.
What is that something?
I'm gonna hit you. What? Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
Yes.
Nothing. 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 Nothing.
Nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, but you don't go by nothing.
Doesn't matter what your nothing is.
No. No, your nothing's nothing. My nothing's something. I've got a past. Just last night.
Doesn't matter what you did last night or what you did 5 years ago. Nothing can separate you from the love of God.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Let's take applause. So we can put that verse up there. So it's kind of an abbreviated version of it, but nothing in all creation will ever be able to separate us from the love of God. And I just like at the end where it's so easy to think that there's got to be something. Something will separate us. Something I did. There has to be something that will separate you from me. And I can't stress it enough. As much as it was funny, there literally is nothing that will separate you from the love of God. And I just want to read, I kind of breeze through it too. No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. I want you to remember those two words, separation and nothing, and I hope that this comes to mind. Thanks, everybody.
All right, let's stand it back up. We're gonna do some more worship. No mosh pitting for the second set. All right, guys. As we get ready to worship, let's clear our minds. Let's get ready to do business with the Lord. Let's stand before Him. No distractions from anyone around us or our phones or wherever it is. Let's spend this time with the Lord right now. Just like what we just heard, nothing can separate us from the love of God. That's because of how great God is. That's not because of how great you are. It's just not like that. It's that God's love is so great. His grace is so wonderful. His grace is so merciful. And He's not going to allow anything to get in the way from His love, which is us, which is incredible. Let's get ready to worship right now. Let's get ready to stand before Him and just praise Him for who He is. Let's pray. Lord, we ask that we would be able to actually live the truth that we're hearing right now, Lord, that you are real and you want to have a place in our life. And Lord, in order to do that, we just need to give ourselves over to you. We need to allow ourselves to surrender to you and to let you lead us and guide us in who we are, Lord. So we just surround ourselves with the story of Scripture, with the story that you've given us. We praise you for that, Lord. We praise your name for who you are. Praise in your name, amen. It's up to now. Cast my mind to Calvary, where Jesus bled and died for me. I see His wounds, His hands, His feet, my Savior on that cursed tree. His body bound and drenched in tears, they laid Him down in Joseph's tomb, the entrance sealed by every stone, Messiah still and all alone. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise His name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord our God. On the first and break of dawn, Son of heaven rose again. Oh, triple death, where is your sting? The angels roar, for Christ the King. Praise the name of the Lord our God. Praise His name forevermore. For endless days we will sing your praise. Oh Lord our God. In robes of white, the blazing sun shall pierce the night, and I will rise among the saints, my gaze transfixed on Jesus' face. As we come before Him right now, and sing about things that He has conquered, and that our victory was brought up into his victory. It's only in this name that we have freedom and life and joy. Let's sing it out. Oh, praise the name of the Lord our God. Oh, praise his name forevermore. Forever this day we will sing your praise. The Lord our God, oh, praise the name of the Lord our God, oh, praise his name forevermore. Forever still we will sing your praise, oh Lord, oh Lord our God. Oh Lord our No matter what's happening in our life, God is the one who makes broken things beautiful, and he holds everything together. Even in our brokenness, he can hold us together.
Feels like an ocean, soul is under my skin. Even the ocean eventually beats with the sand. So I'm waiting, heavy on anticipating, trusting my current will carry me. You are my strength. You We come with great expectations and fears in our hearts. Us your light as we're making our way through the dark. All of we are troubles, chaos and pain they unravel. Looking at we rejoice in you. You are my strength. You like the snow from the waves that was used, there's something to you, lifted high in your mercy, out of sorrow, you do. All this fighting, we're not measured, all your things in this world, so we shout adoration, holy, holy are you, Lord. You are my strength.
thank you that you are the one who holds things together in the palm of your hands. Lord, because of you, we have a love and a grace that is everlasting and doesn't end. Lord, nothing can stand in the way of that. Nothing can stand in the way of you and your children, and you've made us your children. Lord, because of that, we just need to live in that and live in that hope and trust in it and believe in it. Lord, we just pray that you give us the strength to do that right now. As we open up your word, as we hear from you, Lord, let us not live for ourselves, but live for the God who made us and created us for something good. I pray this in your name. Amen. Have a seat. Alrighty. Welcome, guys. How we doing? Oh, man. Oh, I didn't print out the right thing. I have the wrong message. I have the wrong message. And it's pretty different than last night's. I think it's on my desk. Kristen, do you want to see if I thought I printed it and put it on my desk. Maybe I didn't, but I could have swore I did. And that is a bummer. Yeah. I mean, I know what we're talking about, but basically at the Rock in 707, normally we have a similar message, almost the same from one to the next. So what you're hearing on Thursday nights is what we're preaching on Wednesday nights. And part of that is because I don't feel like writing 2 sermons a week. I'm just going to be honest. I'm a lazy person, and now you know me. I'm lazy. I'm naturally lazy. But the other part is that I don't think you guys are like you can't handle it. I think you can totally handle what the high schoolers hear, and I believe that to the fullest. But when it comes to a series like dating, we do need to change things from high school to middle school. It is a different message. So I'm not going to give you the exact same thing that we talked about last night, but they are similar. And for tonight, in a similar way as last week, where we began with an oath. Okay, we began with an oath. Who remembers what the oath was?
We will not be immature.
That's one of them. We will not be immature. Yes. Okay. Keep an open mind. We will not be immature. Is it on my?
We will not be immature.
Can you just give me my computer? Because I just have it. It's on my computer. I'll just pull it up there. I thought I printed it out. Keep an open mind. Trust that I actually want the best for you guys. Trust is a big part of it. That I actually want the best for you guys. Woo! Everyone give Kristen a little round of applause. She did great. This was my own fault. I just totally didn't print out the right one. That's all it was. Okay. There it is. Okay. This is a mature subject, so we need a mature audience. We need to be open-minded. You may disagree, but promise to honestly think about it. And I truly do love you and want the best for you. Can you take an oath that you will at the very least trust these things? I'm not saying you have to do all these things, but can you at least trust this? Can you at least trust to be mature? Would we be mature here? Would we be open-minded? Even in your disagreement, can you think honestly about it and openly about it? And trust that I love you and care for you and actually want the best for you. Can we make that all together? Okay. I solemnly swear to be mature, to keep an open mind, and to give Perry $100. Oh, you said it. Okay. No, to trust what we're about to hear to the best of my ability. So help me God. Scouts on me. Okay. All right. About a month ago, we started talking through the relationship series where we have people in our lives, not just relationships with dating, but relationships with anyone, family, friends, all of that. And I've said it before, but I'll keep saying it, the highest highs in your life, because I really want us to remember this, the highest highs in your life, The lowest lows in your life are going to be about the people around you. They're just going to be about the people around you. The most important things, the best things, and the worst things will often be about the people around you. And last week, as we introduced dating, we talked about the purpose of it. Like, what is the point of dating? Like, what's the whole purpose of it? Which is what? To find the qualities and attributes you eventually want in a spouse. That's the purpose of dating, right? To find the qualities and attributes that you want in a spouse, which means that when it comes to dating, marriage is a part of the picture. When it comes to dating, marriage is kind of a big part of it. And this is because God designed us to experience love and relationships. It's a good thing. Like, it's supposed to happen. It's a good part of being a human being. And that begs the question, well, how do I do this right? Like, how do I do this in the right way? How do I approach dating and love in a way that's honoring to the Lord and follows His will instead of going outside of His will and making huge mistakes that I will later regret? And this is really important for us to understand, is that magical buffer that you guys had as children, when you were like little children, there's a magical buffer that exists there, and I believe this is just the grace of God, that all of the childishness that happens when you're a child doesn't typically make a big deal. Like, it doesn't make a big splash on the world. Like, you can't do a lot of damage when you're a little kid. Like, typically, now you may be like, oh, you didn't see me when I was 5, and I'm like, okay. Even if we're talking like breaking stuff, like doing like really destructive, it doesn't really, even that. I'm talking like, when you're a child, there is a limit on the destructiveness that you could possibly have. There's a limit on like how much destruction you can really produce. If you're mad about the food that your parents gave you and you throw your fork on the floor, not to mention any names, totally. No one's gonna get hurt, okay? No one's really gonna get hurt besides the feelings of their parents who slaved for that food. Other than that, it's not like it's really hurting anybody. But the older you get, childishness suddenly has consequences that can be actually life-altering. Childishness can produce things that you will talk about and remember when you're 40, when you're older. Childishness can produce major things that can actually alter and affect your whole life. This is one of the reasons why parents discipline children. If you've ever wondered why that is, because it's lame and really annoying, and why can't parents just let you do whatever you want to do? One of the reasons is to teach you that childishness has consequences. So you kind of have to like artificially introduce consequences into their life in order to teach them that childishness produces consequences. It just does. Because although it doesn't produce really bad consequences when you're little, it suddenly does when you're older. Childishness while driving can result in a life-altering accident for you or for someone else. I'll never forget when I was 17, and this is, if you ask most people who drive, who are older, they will remember most people will remember a driving incident that changed their life and how they look at driving. Most people have something in their life that was typically a big mistake that they look back to, and it changed how they looked at driving. Childishness while driving is dangerous. It's huge. It's really dangerous. And I'll never forget being 17 and being in my mom's minivan and driving my little brother to Cabela's. We were driving to Cabela's of all places. It was, I was being childish. I decided that I would show David, my little brother, how fast I could go on the highway. You know, in a minivan. This is a town and country minivan, by the way. So I was like, let's just see what this puppy can do. And I just like floored it. I'm in the far left lane, and I'm going really fast. Like we're hitting 90, we're going over that. And it's completely stupid, but it's also January, and the lane that we were in was ending. And I couldn't get over because someone was right next to me. And suddenly, a nice dry lane suddenly turned into slush. And like just immediately like that. And suddenly I'm fishtailing on the highway, going way too fast. And I managed to get it under control and make it over to the dry lane. I didn't hit anybody. It didn't turn into a big accident. But I remember I looked at my brother in that moment. I said, I could have just killed you and me and someone else. Like, I remember them. I will never forget the feeling that I could have just like caused a massive accident on the highway because I was being childish. The same childishness that I had when I was 7, and I would try to be cool with my little brother and show how cool I was. Like, that childishness when I was 7 didn't produce bad consequences, but put it behind a wheel and suddenly it can be massive. It can have huge consequences. Childishness in kindergarten typically means you spend time in time out. But childishness in middle school and then high school over your grades can suddenly start to affect your career choices and your colleges that you can get into. See what I'm saying? The older you get, the more childishness does damage, and the more that there's actual consequences of it. It can lead to huge mistakes. Childishness while dating can lead to massive mistakes that you will have for the rest of your life. I know it sounds like really heavy, but I'm being dead serious. Like, childishness while dating is not a good thing. And last week, while we also gave this verse in 1 Corinthians 6:20, we gave it to show that God is not a passive or indifferent party in your guys' life. This is what it says. Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies. God deeply cares about you. He deeply cares about you and what you do. He deeply cares that you approach dating and love in the way He created you to experience it, which is awesome. But a huge part of whether or not dating will be a good experience, a good and fun experience, or whether it'll be a tumultuous and massively painful time in your life, will be whether or not you depend on God to lead you in that. It just will. Galatians 5:25 says, since we live by the Spirit, let us keep in step with the Spirit. Being led by God means being led through this jungle, past the emotional and the physical pitfalls and traps and pain and despair that dating can produce, into a good, healthy, wonderful relationship where you experience love to the fullest extent that God created for. This is the plan for you when it comes to relationships. But since you're not, and you shouldn't be, in a place to be thinking about marriage, you shouldn't be, that just, why? Like, you shouldn't have to be thinking about that. You won't be able to experience this if you dated middle school. That's what we talked about last week. It's just too soon. And it will only open up the door to mistakes without really gaining you a whole lot in the end. But soon, in the grand scheme of things, it is soon. I know it might feel like it's not soon, but it really is. You will be in a place where you're ready to date very, very soon. And there will come a day in high school where you can safely ask the question, am I ready? There will come a time where you can safely ask this question, am I ready? And this is a really important question to ask. Dating and relationships are a really huge decision that open you up to a whole world of potential pitfalls. So, isn't it important to know before you dive into it whether or not you're even ready for it? Now, the world is going to tell you, and you'll see it with people around you in middle school and high school, in the media, in movies and shows, whatever, that the only thing it takes for you to be ready for dating is if you want to. And that's it. Like, the minute you start having feelings, like, you're ready. Like, that's it. That's all you need. Like, do you want to date? If the answer is yes, you're like, okay, that's it. Then you're ready. But I want you guys to think about that for a second. Imagine if we lived our lives like that. Imagine if the world ran with that kind of logic. Like, what kind of world would it be if a 10-year-old goes up to his dad and says, hey, I want to drive a car. Dad's like, oh, that's good enough for me. Here's the keys, buddy. Have fun. Like, imagine if that's like all it took. Like, you just want to do it. You just want to drive a car. Imagine if like an 18-year-old guy wants to go to the Middle East and go fight ISIS and goes up to an army recruiter and says, hey, I want to go fight in this war against ISIS. And the army recruiter's like, that's good enough for me. You're ready. And gives him a gun and a tactical pack and then like drops him in the Middle East and like, go fight ISIS. Go get him. Well, that would be crazy. No, you have to train. You have to have time. You have to go to boot camp. You have to learn to be a soldier, right? That's how it works. Or imagine if someone wanted to be a doctor and they go up to doctor school, whatever it's called, okay, medical school. And the first thing they did, that's not what it's called. But imagine if the very first thing you did on the process of becoming a doctor was practicing surgery on patients. And the only thing that you needed to be ready for surgery was wanting to do surgery. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, a desire for something, listen up, guys. A desire for something doesn't make you ready for something. Dating is no different. A desire for something does not automatically make you ready for something. So when the day comes, when you're ready to even ask this question, am I ready? How will you know? Because last week we didn't really give you an answer to that question, right? We just kind of basically said, like, it's just not gonna gain you much. And there's a lot that it can harm in middle school, and that's about it. It's just not gonna gain you much, it can harm a lot, and that's the end. But there's gonna come a point where you are ready, and you're like, well, how am I supposed to know? Like, when is it? Is God just gonna like drop a pamphlet from heaven and say, like, okay, you're ready, and here's a list of the girls to stay away from, you know what I'm saying? So like what's gonna happen? Like, how are we gonna know? How are we gonna have guidance in knowing when we're ready? Well, here's how we know. I'm gonna give you a little checklist. Okay, you ready for your checklist? When am I ready to date? Number one, when your heart is secure. Now, we live in an incredibly insecure world, and it's hard for us to recognize the power of someone filling an insecure vacancy or hole inside of us. In this world, relationships promise a level of emotional security that you really feel like you need. Much of this comes from the power of comparison, which is one of the greatest ways to be lied to, because when you compare yourself to someone in your life, or when you compare yourself to men or women or guys or girls on social media or TV or movies, what you're doing is you're comparing something you know about yourself with something you don't know about someone else. Something you know about yourself with something you don't know about someone else. Every single time. When you compare yourself to someone else, no matter what it is, you are comparing what you know about you to something you don't know about someone else. You don't know the heart of someone else. You don't really know what's going on in their life. You don't really know what their family, their friends, their home life is like. You don't know. But you're comparing yourself anyways to a fantasy of what you think the other person is. It's not true. If you are comparing yourself to someone else, you are begging to be lied to. And this is one of the problems with social media that we talked about in this series. It easily cracks the foundation of your heart with insecurity, suddenly inserting questions that don't need to be there, but it just puts them in. And they're very damaging and insecure creating questions like, am I okay? Am I attractive enough? Do people like me enough? Am I wanted enough? And this insecurity puts us in a dangerous place because it opens us up to filling this insecurity with a false God, especially when it's a relationship. If out of this insecurity you suddenly date someone, you are dating someone to fill that insecurity and putting an expectation on them that will crush them, because no one can be a God that fills this insecurity. And guys and girls' insecurities are often similar but different, right? Girls will often compare. This is not the same for everybody. I'm not painting broad brushstrokes and saying everyone is like this. But typically, the girl's insecurity is often going to be around your beauty, your attraction, your likability to others, your popularity. How many people like you? Which people like you or think that you're cool or whatever? And for guys, it can be a little different. Many guys do not think that any girl would really care for them or love them if they knew what was really inside. Many guys feel that they're not strong enough, that they're not athletic enough, that they're not tall enough, that they're not intelligent enough or outgoing enough. Guys often have a huge fear of rejection and question what it takes to be a man. Now, throughout many different cultures, but notably in the Jewish culture that Jesus grew up in, there was a process to becoming a man. And it was called a bar mitzvah. You guys ever heard of bar mitzvah? Okay. What do you picture when you think of a bar mitzvah? Lots of money.
Almost like a.
Is that a thing? I didn't know that was a thing. I picture like a bunch of Jewish people going like, hey, 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 like with a person on the chair. Like that's what I picture. I don't know. But in that day, there was that's what you did. A bar mitzvah was a coming of age ceremony, ritual for a boy to become a man. That was the idea. Like that you were a boy and then you were a man. There was no like intermediate period. There was no like extended adolescence where you're finding yourself. There's just like you're a boy and then you're a man and that's it. And like those are the only two things, right? And you have other men in your life, your father, your grandfather, other men that are important in your life that help show you what it takes and what it means to be a man and follow the Lord. And you're celebrated as going from a boy to a man with your loved ones around you affirming it. We don't have anything like that in our culture. There's nothing like that. There's just expectations that you'll just figure it out eventually. One day you'll just be like, well, I guess I am a man because I'm 18 and can register for the draft. Like, what does it actually take to be a man? Our culture doesn't really tell us. So that produces a lot of insecurity. It just does. It produces a lot of insecurity. I don't know where I am, don't know who I am. This insecurity is incredibly dangerous because it opens us up to making huge mistakes in the pursuit of filling this insecurity. You guys ever wonder why scam artists exist? You guys ever wonder why that works? Like why they do what they do? Why people will literally spend their entire day cold calling people, like making up stories to try to get their money. You guys wonder why? That sounds like a boring job, but a lot of people do it. Why do you think scam artists exist? Because they work. Because they get a lot of money from it. A good scam artist who knows what they're doing will get a ton of money for what they're doing. I know someone who's a good friend of mine, and I'll call him Bob because he's part of the church, and we're just going to call him Bob. But Bob is a smart guy. He's a very, very smart person. He's very principled, and he's very good with money. But one day, he got a call from someone from his bank. He got a call from someone from his bank who said, hey, we have flagged fraudulent activity on your account. Now, if you are ever, one day you guys are going to have a checking account, a savings account, and fraudulent activity is not uncommon, like it happens. And you might get a call from your bank every once in a while saying, hey, we flagged something. That's not uncommon. The bank said, hey, we flagged some fraudulent activity on your account. I need you to go on your account right now. He's like, oh, okay. He goes on his account. He's like, and they're like, all right, do you see this on your account? He's like, yeah, I do see that. You're right. There is something there. And I'm like, okay, here's what we're going to need to do. You need to put this domain on your URL. You need to type it in right now. And I was like, okay. And he types it in. He's like, okay, good. Now, we're just going to keep track of this fraudulent activity and see what happens, see what goes on. And suddenly he looks and he sees money starting to disappear from his checking account. And he's like, oh my gosh, there's money being drained right now. And they're like, that's what we were afraid of. All right, they're draining the money right now. They're taking your money, and we're going to need to get in there and freeze your account immediately. He's like, oh my gosh, okay. Then suddenly he looks at it, and it's more, and it's more. It's $100 here, it's $100, then it's $1,000, and then it's even more than that. Money is just disappearing. They're like, we need to freeze it right now. We need your mother's maiden name. We need your password. We need your social security number, and then he just gives it all. And suddenly they're like, okay, we're going to freeze your account and get back to you, and then they hang up. And he looks on his account, and all the money's gone. Because the people he was talking to were not from the bank. They were the scammers, and they just got him out of his entire bank account. Just like that. Scammers work, but think about how that worked. Now, happy ending. It all got his money back. He had to go through this whole process, and it worked out in the end, but it was pretty traumatic, and he's not an idiot. He's not gullible. He's good with money. How did he get played like that? Because they created a massive insecurity in him. A fear that his money was going. And in that state, he could not think clearly that someone from your bank would not be asking you for your mother's maiden name, or they would not be asking you for their social security number because they should already have that information. He couldn't think clearly because they had created this insecurity in him. And because of that insecurity and fear, he was just willing to give them all of this information and just walk into this trap that just happened. This is what insecurity does. It opens you up for a mistake. It opens you up for doing something you never would have done if you were in a place of security or if you're in a place of safety. You may choose someone you wouldn't have if you were thinking clearly when your heart is insecure. Or even if you choose a nice, stable person, you won't be stable enough to sustain a healthy relationship that will last because you are not in a stable place. A relationship will feel good and it will feel like it will solve this insecurity at first, but it won't last. And it won't fill this insecurity. It will make you more of a needy and jealous person in the meantime. When God is not filling this insecure hole, you will go from one relationship to the next, desperately trying to fill this void in your heart. Each one gives you maybe a taste of what you're looking for, but it doesn't actually fill it. And in the meantime, it makes you more insecure. It fills you with pain and regret. These insecurities will affect you partially because this is just part of the process of being in your age. Your age just kind of naturally brings insecurity. But then on another level, we live in a broken world that loves to also try to add more insecurity. Like this world is just gonna add more. Through social media, through shows, through whatever, it's gonna add more insecurity on top of what you already normally have. And suddenly you're being attacked left and right. And regardless of how you have them, only the Lord can fill these needs. Only He can make us secure. And they need to be filled by Him first before you turn towards someone else in a relationship. If you have a feeling that you're not pretty enough, and you're like, well, I do feel pretty because my boyfriend calls me pretty, and so that just really, I feel good, I feel secure. You have an insecure place, and you're relying on someone else to do that. And that's not going to fill that void. And it's going to be a mistake in the meantime. Listen to David's song in Psalm 63 when he sings to the Lord. I want you to hear how he sounds, okay? You, God, are my God. Earnestly I seek you. I thirst for you. My whole being longs for you in a dry and parched land where there is no water. I have seen you in the sanctuary and beheld your power and your glory. Because your love is better than life, my lips will glorify you. I will praise you as long as I live. In your name I will lift up my hands. I will be fully satisfied as with the richest of foods. With singing lips, my mouth will praise you. Does David sound like an insecure guy waiting around for his soulmate? No. Okay, does David sound like some really insecure guy, like waiting for someone to tell him that he's a cool dude, or that he's really strong, or that he's really handsome, right? Is that what David is looking for? Like he's just this really insecure dude, like, I just don't feel good about myself. No, he's not. He's in a place of saying, Lord, I am perfectly satisfied in you, as with the richest of foods. So think about your favorite comfort food, whatever that is. Imagine in your mind and just fill yourself with it, and you're just stuffed. For me, it's lasagna. I picture like a pound of lasagna in me, and I'm just like, yes, I'm stuffed, I'm satisfied, and I'm tired. And I'm gonna like poop a 1 pound brick tomorrow. Like that's just what happens every time, but it's worth it. You're just satisfied. David's just so satisfied in the Lord. And out of this wholeness, he moves on with his life. And he moves on from a place of stability that God brings. Relationships don't give you wholeness. God does. A marriage is to make you holy, not whole. Dating is no different. Relationships don't make you whole. This whole like, you complete me. Okay, that's kind of cute, I guess. It's poetic, but it's also kind of inaccurate. Because relationships don't make you whole. God makes you whole. You were born with a need for the Lord that only He can fill. And if you try to fill that with anyone else, you're going to destroy the other person with the weight of your expectations. And that relationship will be sabotaged. And then you just go to the next one. For us to be whole by the Lord, we need to be satisfied, filled with Him, secure with Him. And then, maybe, we pursue a relationship out of that wholeness. Now, the second thing that we need before you're ready to date is you need to have a legitimate and honest prompting and leading from the Lord in this. You need to feel the Lord leading you in this. And you need to have this confirmed by people around you in the church, other godly people in your community. Out of this satisfaction of the Lord, you pray, you connect with him, you test your heart to see if God is leading you into a relationship. And if he is, then it's a relationship worth pursuing. Pray this prayer constantly over your heart. Psalm 139. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me and lead me in the way everlasting. Pray this constantly over your heart and test your heart. Ask yourself, God, are you actually leading me in this? Or do I just really want and I'm not actually following you? But remember, if you begin with a place of wholeness and steadiness and security in the Lord, then you'll be able to discern with other people's help, where is he leading you? Is he leading you into a relationship or not? Number 3, you are ready for dating when you have the support of your godly community. And one of the greatest temptations in dating is the temptation to isolate yourself. You become so infatuated with your boyfriend or your girlfriend that they're the only person you want to see, they're the only person you want to talk to, they're the only person you want to think about. But trust me, this isolation is not good for you. It's not good for your boyfriend or girlfriend, and it's not good for that relationship. Date in community. Keep your godly friends close. Keep your church community close. Keep your family close. The support of your family and your boyfriend or girlfriend's family is really important. It's a part of that relationship, and these things matter. To a guy, a pretty girl might just be someone who looks really nice, smells really nice, and gives you all the feels, right? Just gives you all the feels. And you're like, she's just so pretty. She smells so good. That's who she is to you. But to her dad, she's his little girl who he held in his arms and rocked to sleep when she was 6 months old. He held her hand as she made her first steps. And probably his name was the first words that she ever spoke. Daddy. That's the most common first words that a baby says. Him and her mom are a part of the picture if you're going to date whoever that person is. And her relationship with her parents should matter to you. And that's vice versa if you're a girl and you're dating a guy. The family matters. The support of the family matters. The support of your godly community matters. Your church community really matters. If a relationship requires you to damage your relationships with your parents, or the person who's dating relationships with their parents, then it's not a God-honoring relationship. And it's not one worth pursuing. Do not pursue a relationship that isolates you. If it's isolating you from other Christians and your family, it's probably isolating you from God as well. You can just assume that. Do not pursue a relationship that isolates you. And lastly, this one's going to sound weird, but I'm being serious. You are ready to date when you actually want to. Now, I made this last one last because, like I said before, it has to come after the first 3. For most people, this is the only factor that counts, right? Like, do you want to date? Yes? Okay, then you're ready. That's not true. This is not the only one that counts. But after the first 3, this is a factor because you need to think about seriously whether or not you really want to date, or if you want to date because you feel like you should want to date, because you feel like other people have pressured you to want to date. And it's out of that outside pressure that you just feel like it needs to happen. Is it actually your real desire coming from inside you, or is it everyone outside of you putting that pressure on you? That's a big deal. There's no one age that you're ready to date. I firmly believe that middle school is too young. I believe that, like, completely. But there's no one age. There's no, like, once you're 16, then you're ready. There's none. There are 28-year-olds that should not be dating. Like, I believe that completely. But make sure that if you do pursue a relationship, you're pursuing it out of an actual desire in yourself today, rather than a surrounding pressure that you should be. Test your heart here. Know that if you don't actually want to in your own heart, it wouldn't be a good experience. The Song of Solomon is a book in the Bible that you may not have ever heard of or read, but it's about love. If you thought that the Bible was just a weird book of rules and that was it, you've never read Song of Solomon. It's crazy. This proves that God is not just some cold, loveless God who wants you to have a loveless, passionless, gray, dull life, okay? It shows us that love is a part of the human experience and how God created us, but it also gives us wisdom in a way to pursue it rightly that he designed us. And one of these pieces of wisdom is chapter 8, verse 4. It says, "Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires." Now, this is a bit of a poetic way of saying this, but it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. What is it saying? Don't rush it. That's it. Don't plunge into it if you're not ready. Don't rush love. That's like the opposite of all the songs. They're like, rush love, woo! Like, I've never heard a song that says, wait patiently and wisely for your heart to be ready and to date. Like, I've never heard one. Like, if you guys can hear, if you guys ever find one, or just send it my way, because it's just never there. But it's true. Don't force yourself to pursue a relationship out of an outside pressure. Now, once again, I'm not asking you guys to ask these questions right now. Because if you're being honest, these are you're not ready to be checking these off. You're not really ready to be even asking the question, am I ready to date? Because the answer is you shouldn't be. It's just not beneficial. It's not good for it's not gonna really gain you much in middle school. But there will come a day soon when you can ask that question safely. Ask that question and think about these things. Pursue the Lord in these questions. Pursue the Lord in dating, and it's going to be a good thing. I gave my very short dating history last week, and all I can say is that I did not date until I was 17 with Sarah, and it was a great dating experience. You ask a lot of people, like, how was dating in middle school and high school? And usually it's like, wow, it was rough. But eventually, I figured it out. Oftentimes you never hear anyone say, like, I just wish I had like 6 more boyfriends in high school. That would have been nice. Like, you never hear anyone say that. That just never is the case. It's always the opposite. But I can say firmly that I had an awesome time dating. Because freshman, sophomore, junior year, I didn't. It was just great. It was wonderful. Hung out with the boys, and that's how it should be. But my senior year, guys, I had a wonderful time dating Sarah. We did it. We dated in a way that was God honoring. We did it in a way that was pursuing the Lord. That was actually taking it seriously, and it was fun. It was awesome. We didn't do everything perfect. But at the same time, I look back on that as like one of the funnest times of my life with joy. Like, that was just so awesome. I love that. Like, I don't have to sing Rascal Flatts, The Broken Road That Led Me to You. I didn't really have one. I just had a good road. It was just a good one. And part of that reason is because I didn't really ask this question until I needed to. And I want to encourage you guys to do the same. All right? Let's head to life groups. And I realize, staff, I am not giving us much time. I apologize. So it's going to be a quick touching of base. Okay, touch base real quick.
I do. I do. Shut up, guys.
Really gave them a good time. It was like last week, and that was like the first time.
Okay. Party hard.
Bye, guys.